Torah guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah nation.
Shalom, shalom, Yasharal and Yahudah. Listen, I got some truth. I got some absolute truth. And make no mistake about it, I got some truth and I got to get it out, right? Pastor John J. Tatum, I got some truth CD. The song is entitled, I Got Some Truth, and I don't own the rights to this music, right? I got some truth that some of y'all ain't gonna like. But I don't care. Listen. I have to obey the Ruach Ha'Qodesh in everything that I say and do. I have to do this in accordance with what he says. The Ruach, how he leads. Yahuwah, in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, I give you praise for your Ruach HaQodesh. You said, as many as are led by the Ruach HaQodesh, these are the sons of Emuah. Yahusha declared unto us that we would receive power. After that, the Ruach HaQodesh has come upon us. Yahusha said, listen, in that day, don't prepare. Don't plan when it's necessary. The Ruach HaQodesh is going to give you what to say. Yahusha, you demonstrated this with the apostles time and time again as they delivered the word, as they stood before people who would constantly bring them into judgment with regards to the truth of the Besorah that they brought forth. Yahuwah, I pray that you would speak through me, take the reins of my lips, the reins of my tongue, and reign, Yahuwah, reign by your Ruach HaQodesh. Yahuwah, I can't cause anyone to stumble. I can't have anyone turned out of the way. I can't cause anyone to walk away from the Besorah of truth. Yahuwah, your word is life, it's peace. You called me to dispense of your Besorah. And Yahuwah, I can't do it without your Ruach HaQodesh. I can't do it without the Ruach HaQodesh. I can't rely. I can't trust in what I know and understand. That's dung. I can't rely on the education that I've received. That's dung. I can't rely on anything that the Ruach has not given me, Yahuwah. And I trust right now in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach that your Ruach HaQodesh is going to give me what is necessary to present your Besorah of truth. Yahuwah, I just submit myself to you. Use me as an instrument of righteousness by your Ruach HaQodesh. Use me, Yahuwah, as an instrument of righteousness by your Ruach HaQodesh. I will say whatever you want me to say. In the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, I give you praise. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, Yahusha, Yahuwah. One with the Ruach HaQodesh. In the name of Yahusha HaMashiach. Listen. John J. Tatum, I got some truth CD. My theme song. I got some truth. I got to get it out. I got some absolute truth. And you know what? Real truth is by the Ruach HaQodesh. And the Ruach HaQodesh always delivers the truth and love. But the Ruach HaQodesh, when he delivers the truth and love, recognizes that everybody ain't gonna like it, but it don't change the fact that it was still delivered, because it's the love of Yahusha that constrains me. It's the love of Yahusha that causes me to declare his Besorah, because see, I love him and his people, and I do not want them to be lost. Listen, my message is to all those who have an ear to hear. Yeah, this is Yahuwah's message to all those who have an ear to hear. Some of you ain't gonna hear because you don't have an ear to hear. It's okay. That's between you and Yahuwah, right? Between you and Yahuwah. You don't have an ear to hear, it's okay. It's between you and Yahusha. It's between you and Yahuwah. It's between you and the Ruach HaQodesh. It's between you. Because they all one. Yeah, you can't have one without the other. They all operate together. Yeah, that's right, they do. Listen, we go on in. Of course, you know I am in I've been in the Basora of Yehukanan, right? And we actually got as far as the 17th chapter, right? Then Yahuwah moved me over to the epistle of Yehukanan, the first epistle of Yehukanan, right? We got as far as the 3rd chapter, right? All of which pointing the direction to what the Ruach, what and how the Ruach is and how he performs. We know the Ruach is the spirit of Yahuwah and Yahusha. It is the exousia. It is the dunamos. It is the inherent power. It is Yahuwah. It is Yahusha. Listen, it's a mystery. It's Ruach, right? You have to have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh and the Emuah that comes with it to accept it, right? You ain't gonna never be able to rationalize it. You're not going to ever be able to come to a conclusion with your understanding what Yahuwah and Yahusha and the Ruach Ha'Qodesh are together. It's not. It's Ruach. It's Ruach. It's the Ruach HaQodesh. This is a truth that is discernible by the Ruach of truth. Listen. So we've been also in the Basora of Mark, right? The Basora of Mark. Mark records a Basora. This is John Mark. John Mark was with Barnabas and Paul, Saul, Shaul, right, as they went about their missionary journey to the Gentiles. At some point in time, John Mark recorded an account of the Basora from someone, and it's recorded in Mark, right? 16 chapters. And it's a secondary account, if you will, because John Mark wasn't amongst the 12 that we know. But we understand that he has been given a Basora and he's recorded, right? And in his account of that Basora, right, he states in that 16th chapter what Yahusha had said to his disciples in reference to signs following, right? Them that believe. Now we understand that it is not just talking about believing in Yahusha HaMashiach, where you have this confession that you believe with your mouth, or you confess with your mouth, right? Right? And believe in your heart, right, that Yahuwah has raised him from the dead. You have to go into, right, the receiving of the baptism of the Holy Spirit to be sealed. Right? You have to understand there's a process, right? So you believing, in this case, it's not just the believing that Yahusha HaMashiach is the son of Eluah. You must understand the only way you're going to ever understand is by the Ruach HaQodesh. The only way you're going to be sealed is by the Ruach HaQodesh. There's no sealing without the Ruach HaQodesh. There's no sonship without the Ruach HaQodesh, right? So the belief that he's talking about here is the believing that comes as a result of having received the Ruach HaQodesh. See, because in Christendom, they you know, if you confess with your mouth, Yahusha or Jesus, you confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus, believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, then you shall be saved. For with the heart man believeth unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. Yes. But you have to receive the Ruach HaQodesh. Listen, Why would Yahushua says that Yahusha has come to baptize you with the Ruach Ha'Qodesh? If that wasn't a part of the plan, that wasn't a part of the solution. That's why I like Yahushua. Yahushua is an eyewitness account. He is eyewitness to it. He was an eyewitness to Yahusha Mashiach. Yahusha said after that, the Ruach Ha'Qodesh has come upon you. You should be my witnesses. After. So he that believeth shall be saved. Yeah, he that believeth and continues to the reception or receiving the Ruach Ha'Qodesh and continue to keep Yahuwah's commandments, he should be saved, right? But he that believeth not shall be damned. So you say, I believe that Yahusha is the son of Yahuwah. I believe that he forgive me from my sins, right? I don't believe in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. I don't believe that I need to speak in tongues. I don't believe I need to do none of that. So what you're saying is you don't identify with Yahusha. You don't identify, you don't connect to the Father. The only way that you're going to be connected with the Father is by the Son, and the Son has a fulfillment, a fulfilling of all things, right? Which culminates in the completion of having delivered unto us the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. There's no Yeshua without the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. There's no inheritance without the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. There is none. And if you believe that there is, then don't listen to me anymore. If you're convinced that you don't need the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, don't listen to me anymore. If you're convinced that these signs may not follow you, don't listen to me anymore. Yahuwah said, don't say that. Yahuwah, forgive me. You need to hear the word of Basar of truth. You got to have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. You have 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 to have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Listen. You have to have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. You have to fulfill everything that Yahusha has established that we need to fulfill. The disciples had to receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh in order to be the witnesses of Yahuwah. It had to happen. It had to happen. Yahusha told them it had to happen. The angel said, listen, why are you standing here looking? You got to do what he told you to do. He's coming back, but you need to do what he told you to do. You got to obey his instructions. You got to obey instructions. You got to obey his instructions. These signs follow those that obey his instructions. These signs follow them to believe. These signs follow them to believe. This belief has everything to do with the Ruach of truth. You have to have the Ruach of truth. You have to have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh of truth. God. There is no escaping the necessity of the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. There's no glossing over, oh, well, you know, I have the Ruach, but I'm still in Babylon, dabbling. I have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, but I don't speak in tongues. I have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. I don't cast out devils. I have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, and I took Maxine, and I'm gonna take a booster. Because I believe the Yahuah gives us wisdom. You don't have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. You don't feel like you need to lay hands on the sick. You know, in the Christian church, they did this, right? Or they did what they thought was this. Yahuah, same mindset. Same mindset in the awakening. You have those who have never been in the Christian church that are in the awakening, right? And they think they could do without the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Right? Oh, yeah. Because it's too churchy. That's church. Right? Then you have those that have come out of the Christian church, right? And they think they can bring that into the awakening. Yeah. You know, the intellect, the seminaries. I think they can bring that structure and order into the awakening. And you know, it's interesting because in the awakening, you have these two sides, right? You have those people who are from this rough side of the mountain, right? Right? Come off the street, straight off the block, and they never been in a church, really, right? And then on the other spectrum, right? Right? You have those who have come out of the church with their preachy intellectual understanding of the Bible now, right? And they understand that they're Hebrew, so they're taking what they have gained from that experience and shaping it into the Hebrew walk, right? Apply that same intellectual aspect of approaching, reaching people. Pointing out all the wrongs of understanding, yeah. Then you got the middle of the road people. Not because they're lukewarm, right? Not because they're lukewarm, but because they see it by the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. They understand it by the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. And in this group of people, they're a mixture of both, right? Yeah. And this is what Yahuwah's doing. Yahuwah's using this voice. Yeah, that's telling you you have to have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. And it's connecting to the ears of those who have a ear to hear the truth. And they're recognizing that in these two different circles, listen, there is this element of the Ruach HaQodesh that makes sense. Okay, they say that they're in the awakening, but yet they don't believe that Yahusha HaMashiach is the son of Eluah. They say they're in the awakening, but they don't necessarily believe the Ruach HaQodesh the way it is. Yeah. They believe that there's this Ruach, but they don't really understand the levels of intimacy associated with it, and that it requires some signs. Right? And then you have the Christian side of the fence that, they have intellectualized, right? Educated themselves out of, right? The ministry of Yahusha. They in a ministry. A Hebrew ministry. Right? It's a great awakening. It's a awakening a remnant. We have to find a place. I pray that Yahuwah would reveal his Ruach HaQodesh to you. I pray that he would reveal the Ruach HaQodesh to you. I pray that he would cause both ends of this Hebrew awakening, that he would call out those that are in the midst of these awakenings and wake them up to the Ruach HaQodesh. Benaiah, Israel used the term level up. Right? That the awakening needs to level up. Hebrews need to level up. It was part of one of his more recent videos in reference to the Hebrew and DNA. Right? The awakening needs to level up to the Ruach HaQodesh. Needs to level up to the Ruach HaQodesh. It needs to level up. It needs the Ruach HaQodesh. Mores, teachers, elders, Emuahs, Akis, Akotis. Moras need to level up. Not all of them. No, I'm not speaking of everyone, because we got some Moras out there that's leveled up. We got some Emuahs out there that's leveled up. Yeah, we do. And I say we because I'm in unity, right, with administrations and operations that are Ruach. So yeah, we need to level up. Got them there. Understand the importance of the Ruach HaQodesh. Understand, every time they have something to say, I listen. I just listen. I do a listen. Listen. I listen every time they have something to say. Rebirth Anderson is like Malacca. Emuah Malacca. Yeah. Listen. Ruach HaQodesh. seized by the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Level up. Gotta level up. It's Ruach. You have to have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. You got to level up. You got to level up. Yahuwah, I pray that your people level up. I pray to those that you have called and chosen that they would understand that what they're missing is the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Without the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, it doesn't matter how much Hebrew you learn. Without the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, it doesn't matter how much Greek you know. Without the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, it doesn't matter how many New Testament courses that you've taken, Old Testament courses that you've taken. Without the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, it does not matter. Yahuwah calls your people to level up. By your Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Listen. These signs shall follow them that believe. In my name they shall cast out devils. They will speak with new tongues. They shall take up serpents. And if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover, because they have become else. They have become a part of the kingdom system, the way the kingdom does things. And if in this Ruach temple you find yourself under the influence of affliction, by sickness, you can speak the word in faith and in Emuah and know that Yahuwah will hear you and heal you. You fast and you pray, and Yahuwah will respond, because you are his. You belong to him. He will respond to his. Yahuwah will respond to his. Let's look at Acts. Let's look at Acts. The signs that follow the apostles. Right? Right now, the 8th chapter. Right? Shaul is consenting to the death of Stephen. Stephen had just been hauled into question because of what he was preaching and teaching amongst the leaders in the temple in the 7th verse, 7th chapter. Right? He was teaching, preaching, declaring the Besorah too. Right? The leaders and the elders listening to him. And of course, you know, he preached without a script. He declared by the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, the text that Yahuwah, by the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, Yahusha had brought to his remembrance. Preached it to the point where those who heard, you know, they're just educated heretics. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with an education, but you better understand that it does not supersede the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. No, it does not. It does not. It does not. It doesn't matter, right, what you think, right? It doesn't matter what someone has taught you that don't have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh about the text. Listen, I went to a Christian college. Yeah. My degree, or my initial field of study, right, was religion and philosophy. Yeah. I was going to be a minister and go off in the seminary. I was going to do my first 4 years in the Christian college and then move over into a seminary, right? Because I was Baptist, was Christian, and there wasn't so much that I believed in that system as much as I believed in getting knowledge, right? But I knew that in order to do that, they say you had to do that, you had to have a training, right, under their system. Because that system is a Catholicism system. It's a religious practice. It's a system of which some of it is historical, right? But a lot of it is left to interpretation. And yeah, it's left into interpretation. I was in pursuit of it. I attended my first class, my Old Testament study. My New Testament study. The study of the Acts of the Apostles. I had a professor. Right. Can't remember this little guy's name. Little short guy with glasses. Little short guy, white guy, glasses. Balding right here. It was just a nice old guy. Right. He'd get up and talk about stuff, and I'd be like, yeah, but what about the Ruach Ha'Qodesh? What about this Holy Spirit? I mean, I don't understand. How's this? Where's this coming from? He used to say, he used to look at me like, I was always challenged about the word. He was like, but we established an excellent relationship. Because I made him think. He made me think, but I knew what the Ruach was saying. His letters. I realized that wasn't what Yahuah wanted from me. I changed my degree to social work because I saw myself being more of a help to people, ministering to people in that capacity by Yahuah's doings than establishing myself in a system of operation that's not Yahuah's system. This system has nothing to do with Yahuah. Just like the Pharisees and the Sadducees, that system had nothing to do with Yahuah. The Sanhedrin and the Senate that had nothing to do with Yahusha. Their control over the priest and the Levites, you see, that had nothing to do with Yahuah. These people were upset with Stephen as he preached. They were so mad they was gnashing their teeth. How dare he say that? Gives him the right to say that. Got to talk about Moses and the prophets. Moses. How dare he say that? Yeah. So they took him and dragged him out and stoned him. He looking up into the Shamayim and says he looked like an angel. Taking their coats and laying them at the feet of the apostle, who was not apostle then, he was a Pharisee, yeah. He was calling everything and everybody in question that had any kind of relationship with this Yahusha and was claiming to have received his Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Yeah, we dragging them out of their houses. Oh yeah, we dragging them out of their houses, and we gonna kill Stephen. Yeah. Because Stephen was preaching and teaching in the name, under the Ruach Ha'Qodesh unlearned, right? But was able to understand what Yahusha meant when he said after that, the Ruach Ha'Qodesh has come upon you. You're going to be my witnesses. And you are going to tell what I say. You ain't going to need nothing. You gonna have what you need in that hour to declare, this Besorah. Of course, Stephen did. And what happened? He died for the truth. Wasn't popular. What he said wasn't popular. How did we get from the signs that the apostles had to what we have now? I can tell you. How do we get to what the apostles had then to where we are now? No Ruach Ha'Qodesh. How do we get to this system of doing things as Hebrews, even in the awakening? Because as Hebrews in the awakening, man, we should have gravitated to Yahusha HaMashiach. Should have gravitated to Yahusha HaMashiach. We should have been identifying with what he had said. We should have been looking to the Besorah. We should have been receiving the Torah of truth. And all of this information and all of this providing of information, we should have gotten to Yahusha HaMashiach, the son of Eluah, and the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, but we haven't. Yeah, there's certain that have, but the majority of the awakening, they don't. What created the change? What caused all things to be in common? What caused the supernatural move of Yahuwah to the point where the people brought the sick from all around the cities and laid them in the streets with the hope of the shadow of Peter touching them to be healed? But we woke. We in the awakening, right? We got time for all this extracurricular. We got all this extra time to do all these fun things. But they didn't have time to do that. Why? What's the difference? Why is this not the norm in the awakening? Why? We got rappers, we got poets, we got educators, we got doctors, we got everything in the awakening. Teachers. Well, why don't we get this? Why? Why don't we have this in the awakening? Why? We have come to a place where we were identityless. All we understood of our history was that we were slaves, and that's all they wanted us to know. And they kept reminding of us every Martin Luther King month, Black History Month is all about being slaves and oppression. Right? Yahuwah said it's time to wake my people up. They need to know who they are. They need to know that they are sons and daughters of Eluah. They need to know that they need to have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh because they need to be prepared for what's about to come. What's the difference? The Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Why ain't signs following you? Because there's no Ruach Ha'Qodesh, right? That Acts of 8th chapter, 1st verse, and Saul was consenting unto the death of Stephen. And at that time there was great persecution against the assemblies, which were at Jerusalem. These assemblies ain't experiencing no persecution. They're too busy having fun. Yeah, I said it. They're complacent. People happy about being Hebrews. Happy about being the people. And they were all scattered abroad throughout the regions of Judea, Samaria, except the apostles. They stood their ground. Everybody else scattered throughout the areas because persecution started happening. Because, Saul started, he turned it up. He turned it up. Turned it up. So they scattered. Scattered, except the apostles. They dug in and continued to preach and teach the Besor. And devout men carried Stephen and made great lamentations over him. They mourned and wept the death of this Ruach El. He's Ruach El. Oh yeah, he's gonna be changed. Whose word is true? He's going to serve in the kingdom of Eluah. On the earth, he's gonna serve. He's gonna serve in the kingdom. As for Shaul, he made havoc of the church, of the assemblies. Of much. Entering into every house and hauling men and women committed unto them. Listen. The Ruach Ha'Qodesh, Yahuwah, is about to pour out his Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Listen. If you are ready to receive it, he's going to pour out his Ruach Ha'Qodesh. He is calling me to tell you, you need to receive, prepare your hearts and receive in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, and then walk in obedience, right? Because, when the pressure comes, you're going to run. You're going to run. Some of y'all going to run back to the security of what you knew before. You're going to deny ever being a Hebrew. I ain't with them people. Not because he never wasn't anyway. But listen, you gonna see them bruised that are ruachly filled, that are suffering persecution. Yeah, you gonna say, oh yeah, nah, I ain't got nothing to do with that. That ain't me. That ain't me. That ain't me. That ain't me. I'm going back to church. I'm going back to church saying, come to Jesus. Man, listen. I'm going to go back to Islam. Go back to Hinduism. I'm going to go back to everything. Yeah, you're going to go back to what you was doing in the world. People going to look at you strange like, wait a minute, what's wrong, man? I thought you was a Hebrew. Nah, man, I ain't with that no more. He ain't had the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. That's why it's going to be a shaking. Oh, yeah. It's going to shake, rattle, and roll. It's going to shake. And only those who are devoted to the truth of the Mashiach, who have received his Ruach HaQodesh and who have signs following, are going to stand. That's why it's only a remnant. That's why it's only a remnant. I mean, listen, you have to ask yourself in the Ruach HaQodesh, right? This is what they was doing. How come we ain't doing it? We the people. You gotta ask yourself why we ain't doing it. It's gotta start with us first. Listen, the Christian church ain't doing this. That's the beast system, right? So the outpouring of the Ruach HaQodesh, the way it is on Pentecost, has to come to us first. Listen, it doesn't matter whether you like that or not. That's just the way Yahuah is. Everything he does over again. It's his pattern. It's his operation. He woke his people up, right? But he woke up the other nations. But the waking was for his people. And his people, who are called by his name, now, by the Ruach HaQodesh, has to go and wake up the rest of the people of Yahusha. And there going to be some that's going to wake up the Gentiles. It's the same thing. You got to ask yourself, why we ain't seeing this in the awakening? Yahuah woke us up with the intentions of us understanding who we are as the people. And having understood who we are as the people, we would follow our lineage, right? From Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, into Yahusha HaMashiach, and then partake as witnesses and accept what he did ruachly to establish us as a nation in order for us to understand what we need to be as kings and priests and elves in the earth to establish his kingdom. But, you know, we Hebrews, constantly in pursuit of knowledge, constantly looking for the next piece of information. And if they don't have the Ruach HaQodesh, it ain't even Ruach. You gotta receive the Ruach HaQodesh. They made lamentations over while Paul wreaked havoc and hauled men and women and committed them to prison. Right? Let's learn about what Stephen did with the Ruach HaQodesh. Philip, you know, he was anointed with the Ruach HaQodesh. Oh yeah, it was in Acts 6. Is that where Philip? Yeah. Acts 6 and 5. And these sayings, because you know the apostles, man, they was like, listen, you know, y'all got issues with the Grecians and the Hebrews over how widows are being treated, and you're calling us to do that, you know, and you know, we have to be committed and devoted to the preaching of the Basora and the work of the ministry. We got to lay hands on people. We got to be prepared to go and preach and teach and set captives free like Yahusha told us. We can't be waiting on tables. So you need to find, right? You need to look out among ye, Acts 6:3, and find 7 men, 7 complete, 7 men, honest report, full of what? The Ruach Ha'Qodesh. This is the establishment of an administration, a process of doing in the assembly. And he looked for men that were filled with Ruach Ha'Qodesh. He didn't pick him because, you know, he had a degree and, you know, he speaks eloquently. Or pick him because, you know, no, that's brothers such and such. You know, he's a good man. No. They had a good report, but they was filled with the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, right? And the wisdom that comes with the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, the Ruach of wisdom. Right? Just like the judges were supposed to operate in the wisdom of Yahuwah. Listen. He said, whom we may appoint over this, right? But we will give ourselves continually to what? Prayer. And the ministry of the word. Give ourselves continually to prayer and the ministry of the word. No. We're going to go to Disney World. We're going to Disney World. We're going to the Knicks game. We're going to watch the Wolverines. I used to love the Wolverines. I could care less what happens on a football field. Care less what happens on a basketball court. Because I give myself to prayer. In the Prochorus. Care less. Should look out for among you, because we got to give ourselves continually, because we don't know how much time we have. We have urgency. The urgency is the Basora. The urgency is the Basora. The urgency is having the signs follow and reaching those who are bruised, who need to know that they need the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Yeah. Got to give myself to that. Do I give myself to that? I don't have time for all of this recreational stuff. Going to parties, Christmas parties. Time for that. Peter said that we may give ourselves continually. But here we meet Stephen or Philip. He says, and this saying pleased the whole multitude, and they chose Stephen, right, who gave up the ghost. Right? I don't know how long his ministry was, but he was full of the Holy Ghost, and he did exactly what Yahuwah had appointed for him to do. Man full of faith in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. And Philip, man full of faith, filled with the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, and Prochorus, Nicanor, Timon, Parmenas, and Nicolas. And he was a proselyte. he was a proselyte. He was one of those people who had converted over to Judaism. He was a Gentile. Got saved, became a proselyte. He was a proselyte. He was a Gentile. Proselytes were Gentiles who took on circumcision. Oh yeah, he was the real deal. He was from Antioch. But he was filled with the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Now let's look what happened to Stephen in the 8th chapter. Or Philip in the 8th chapter, right? Ruach Ha'Qodesh filled. We're looking at what the Ruach Ha'Qodesh is and what it does and how it manifests. And we need to ask ourselves why in this awakening we have so much information and no Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Yeah. No Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Plenty of awakening, information in Hebrew. Dressing, fringes, necklaces, yes, necklaces, head coverings. No Ruach Ha'Qodesh. And there's some that has the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. I don't mean completely, because there's plenty that have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, but not enough. Because if there was, Yahuah would have never told me to make this the mission, to tell my people they need to receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. So, he says, therefore they were scattered abroad, in everywhere preaching the Besorah. He went everywhere with signs following. We have a record of Philip, right? And Philip went down to the city of Samaria, right? And preached Hamashiach unto them. He went to Samaria. He went to that place where Yahusha went when he met that woman at the well. Now, Philip went back to bring living water, right? To make sure that these people received the Besorah, the word, the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. He came to do the work. Samaria. Where that woman came and told everybody in the city everything that Yahusha said, told about herself. They came and found out. Then they says, oh, we know for sure because not of what you testified to, but we know ourselves. This man is the son of Emuah. He is a Mashiach. Philip went up to Samaria, right? And preached to Mashiach. And the people with one accord gave heed unto those things that Philip spake, hearing and seeing miracles, which he did. The awakening needs the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. The awakening needs the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. And what's going to separate the awakening is those who receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh and those that move by the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. But see, in the awakening, man, we still got brews that need the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. They haven't received the Ruach since they believed. And all they believed is that they were Hebrews. And they people that are called to keep the Torah. Right? They ain't even really dove into the new covenant, the renewed covenant. You know, all they know is they need to keep the Torah. But Yahusha is the Word made flesh. You got to come through Yahusha. And then you got to follow the Torah, the commandments that Yahuah gave Yahusha, which was his commandments. But then you got to receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh to even know what he is calling you to do. And then once you do, you got to have some signs following. Some fruit. Some signs. Listen, if your ministry in Yahuah by the Ruach Ha'Qodesh is rap, music, you better have some signs following. You better be bringing some people to Yahusha HaMashiach. You better be introducing them and laying hands on them that they may receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh as you have received the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. You better minister to your audience and lay your hands on some people. Oh, because you got the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Signs follow them to believe. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with how your administration is. If it's got the Ruach HaQodesh, if it has the Ruach HaQodesh, if it has the Ruach HaQodesh, then hey. But you gotta have some signs following. And the people with one accord gave heed unto those things which Philip spake, hearing and seeing miracles that he did. Philip. He was in demonstration. We don't see this. We don't see it. And you know what the sad part is? The people who have never been in a church, who have come into the awakening, right? They really don't have a reference point. They have what people have said and what they've heard. They've seen the TD fakes, and they've seen the Creflo steal your dollars, and you know some of them may even seen the what's his name, Steen guy, you know, and Hickey, and what's some of those what's that other lady? I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, they seen that, but they ain't acquainted with that. They don't understand that. They don't flow like that, right? They don't understand that. So you know. We could have pulled, having delivered them from the bondage of who they were and introducing them to Yahusha HaMashiach and have them receive the Ruach HaQodesh, man, listen, they would have been shaking up the world by now. That's why Yahusha said, listen, you got to tell these people they got to have the Ruach HaQodesh. You ain't got the Ruach HaQodesh. You ain't got the Ruach HaQodesh because you ain't got no signs following. I don't know if signs follow. Right? So, they believed, right? For unclean ruachs cried out with loud voices and came out of many that were possessed. Listen. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't take authority over demonic spirits. Wait a minute, Yahusha said, you shall cast out devils. Yahusha says, whatsoever he binds on earth will be bound in heaven. Literally, whatever he agrees to you, whatever you agree in him by the Ruach HaQodesh, he will agree with. Because he is in you. Somebody tell you you can't take authority over the demonic forces that are in people. What's that? That's crazy. That don't make no sense. Listen. For the unclean ruachs cried with loud voices and came out of many that were possessed. Why? Because they recognized the authority. And they had to obey. See, I have the Ruach HaQodesh. The devil got to obey me. Oh, yeah. right? A devil has got to obey me. You know, and listen, Hasatan, right? Hasatan. Don't nobody has to do anything to Hasatan. Hasatan can't do nothing to you, right? Can't do nothing to you. Demons and devils can't do nothing to you. They could try to sow seeds, but that's why you have to be renewed in your mind. Your Ruach, the Ruach Ha'Qodesh is going to keep you, and it's going to remind you, it's going to show you, it's going to reveal things to you. You can't do this like the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Devil going to sow all kinds of crazy stuff in you. There's so much twisted, wicked teaching in the awakening. You got charlatans, man. You got straight up charlatans that aren't teaching from the Basora. You got charlatans. Got so many people hearing, so many people just hearing everybody, just listening to them. Oh, it's the age of awakening. Oh, I like him because he sounds the way. Listen, hey, like the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, it ain't about liking. It's about a kindred anointing. It's your Ruach agreeing with their Ruach. Hey. Yeah, you will say it's right, son. It's right. Digi ur being sheta. Said say it, declare it. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing it. Now listen. Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Signs following. A man that was filled with the Ruach Ha'Qodesh that they had chosen. Right? Chosen. We already know what happened to Stephen. He was chosen. Ruach Ha'Qodesh filled. Was able to stand up and declare a basora of truth in such force and power. Listen. And there was great joy in the city. Great joy. Because a Ruacho man came in and removed burdens and destroyed yokes. Because Yahusha told him, after the Ruach Ha'Qodesh come upon you, these signs shall follow. The Samaritans. The northern kingdom. Okay, so let's go on. He says, but, here we go. City, right? But there was a certain man called Timon, which before a time in the city used sorcery, right? And witchcraft, bewitched the people of Samaria, giving out himself to be someone great. It's like that, like them, what was it, UC, we all see, said he was the comforter. He said he was the embodiment of the comforter. Lying on the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. He didn't say he had received the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. He said he was the comforter. Well, you know what he doing now. He pushing up daisies. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pronounce death on you, but you done blasphemed anyway. Listen, right? Saying something they are not, making themselves out to be something they're not. Listen, you know what? I'm going to go through my whole Facebook, and I'm getting rid of everybody that ain't remotely on the same page. Ruachly. Getting rid of them. I am. I'm sorry, and I ain't sorry. In the name of Yahusha, I ain't sorry. I ain't adding no more people either. I ain't adding no more people. If you don't demonstrate to me that you speak from the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, I'm done. Ain't adding. No, ain't adding. No. I'm not doing it. Because I don't know if you're operating in sorcery. Like, operating in witchcraft. Making yourself out to be something you're not. Yeah. I know the Ruach Ha'Qodesh is speaking. I know. He said, whom all gave heed from the least of the greatest, that this man had the power of Eluah. He had familiar spirit. He had the ability to perform witchcraft. Right? Right? And to him they regarded, because how long time he bewitched them with sorcery. They regarded him. Yeah. He had an eloquency about him. He had this ability to persuade. He was just this. Oh, I got bullshit. But when they believed Philip's preaching the things concerning Yahuwah's kingdom. Listen, Yahuwah has called you to be elves in the earth. You have an inheritance with Yahusha HaMashiach. He has come to restore the kingdom. The kingdom is not what you think right now, but the kingdom is going to be within you. It is the Ruach HaQodesh in you. It's going to give you the capacity to be his witness and lay the foundation for the kingdom to come. They believed it. In the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, and they were baptized, both men and women. They were baptized, right? And they weren't just baptized in water baptism, because that's just not what he's talking about. He's talking about the baptism. The baptism is the baptism of water and the baptism of the Ruach HaQodesh. He's talking both baptisms. So don't get them thinking, oh, well, you know, they got baptized. Yeah, they got baptized, but they got baptized with the Ruach HaQodesh. They had to. And Simon himself believed also. He believed, right? And when he had baptized, he continued with Philip and wondered, beholding the miracles and signs which he did. So here we have, right, this Simon. Simon believed Philip's preaching of the Basora. Right? And he continued with Philip and wondered, beholding the miracles and signs what he has done. Now he's following him now, right? But he's wondering about the miracles and the signs, right? Now when the apostles which were at Jerusalem heard that Samaria had received the word of Eluah, they sent unto them Peter and John. So they had heard the Samaritans, you know, Samaritans in the Jews, Yahusha, they had nothing to do with each other. So Philip went up there and preached the Basora, they received it. And when they heard it, they had to make a visit. Who when they had come down and prayed for them that they might receive the Ruach HaQodesh. So actually, they received the witness of Philip. But Peter and John came to baptize them with the Ruach HaQodesh. That's why you know. They didn't leave no stone unturned. Who when they had come down and prayed for them that they might receive the Ruach HaQodesh, for as of yet he was fallen upon none of them, right? They believed, but they didn't have the Ruach HaQodesh. They didn't have the seal. Yeah, Yahusha, yeah, he did miracles. Yeah, there were signs that followed. But they needed the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Are you seeing this? Here, now, when I first was reading it, I was thinking, Philip preached the Besorah to him, and, they had received the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, but there was a bunch of sorcery and all kinds of witchcraft that was still floating around in that city, right? There was a lot of witchcraft, right? There was people that were possessed of devils. Samaria was a place where a bunch of devils and possessed folk were, right? But the demons and the devils left. The people gladly received the Ruach. They gladly received the word of you. Philip baptized them. He baptized. They didn't receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh though. But Yahuah didn't leave it undone. He didn't leave it undone. He didn't leave it undone. Listen. To whom all gave heed, from the least to the greatest, saying, this man has the power of Eluah. This was talking about that Simeon. But before that, he says, therefore, increased from merit, and the people with one accord gave heed unto the things that Philip spake, hearing and seeing the miracles which he had done. And how unclean spirits, unclean ruachs, cried with loud voices, coming out of many who were possessed. And many that had palsy and lame were healed. Right? And great joy fell on the city. But this man Simeon, right? He's a witch. He's a warlock. He held the people in bondage. He was declaring that he had the power of Yahuah, but he had the power of Hasatan. These people were glad to be free, right? They were glad to be free. But there was a certain man, Simeon, which aforetime in the same city used sorcery and bewitched the people of Samaria, giving down himself to be a great one, to whom they gave heed from the least to the greatest, and that this man had the power of Eluah, but he had the power of Hasatan. And to him they had regarded, because that of a long time he had bewitched them with sorcery. He had put ruachs on them. But when they believed Philip's preaching the things concerning the kingdom of Eluah in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, they were baptized, both men and women. So, they believed, got the devils out, and were baptized. Right? Right now, it's interesting that the baptism was just underwater. And it's interesting that they hadn't received it. Right? Now, what also happened was that Simeon himself believed also, and when he had baptized, and when he was baptized, he continued with Philip. So he was baptized. He continued with Philip. And wondered, beholding the miracles and the signs which he had done. He didn't have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. He's still watching somebody else with it. And when the apostles which were at Jerusalem heard that Samaria had received the word, the Besorah of Eluah, right, they sent unto them Peter and John, who, when they were come down, prayed for them that they might receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. And they laid their hands on them, and they received the Ruach. Listen, I'm telling you, the awakening needs the Ruach Ha'Qodesh and the hands laid on them. Because they just like the Samaritans. They done came out of rich witchcraft, Christianity, witchcraft, Islam, witchcraft, Hinduism, witchcraft, Egyptology, witchcraft, all of that. It came out of all of that, right? And just like Simon, they I don't even know if they got baptized, because I don't even know if everybody in the awakening believe in being baptized. I don't know if everybody in the awakening believes in being immersed. I'm talking about the Hebrews. They believe in being immersed, right? But they were baptized. But it wasn't enough. Thank you, Ruach Ha'Qodesh. It was not enough. And Peter and John went to Samaria with urgency. Yeah. Because them Ruachs, man, they gonna come back. Oh yeah. You don't get the seal. You don't get the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. You don't get the power. You don't get what comes with the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Listen, guess what? They coming back. See, this is what, listen, this is the awakening. They receive some knowledge. They understand some things now. They're happy and excited and filled with joy, but they don't have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. They've been baptized, some of which have been baptized, but they just have not received the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. They ain't got it. They ain't so much heard of the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Some of y'all ain't even put no pressure on nobody to understand that they needed the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Lay hands. Lay hands. Who, when they were come down for them, that they might receive the Ruach HaQodesh. For as yet he was fallen upon none of them. Only they were baptized in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach. Ooh. Okay. Okay, right? Oh, so go with me here. Yahusha told the disciples to wait to do anything because they needed to be sealed. They needed the Ruach HaQodesh, right? Because the Ruach HaQodesh is what's going to seal you. It's going to be the Father and the Son in you. The Ruach HaQodesh, the Father and the Son, they are one. They're going to be in you, right? It's going to cause you to be an inheritor. It's going to make you a part of the beloved, right? Yeah. It's going to establish you to the end. Yeah, Ruach HaQodesh, because it's what's going to make you an El, because now you become sons and daughters of Eluah, right? Because you are now his sons and daughters. You belong to him. You can't be plucked out of his hands as long as you continue to walk in obedience, right? You won't be that vine, that branch that's cut off to be burnt, right? If Peter and John had not went to lay hands on these people that they might receive the baptism of the Ruach HaQodesh, they would have went back to witchcraft. Because it's what they knew. They believed that this Simon, he had the power of Eluah, even though they witnessed demons coming out, right? Yeah, they see people with the palsy healed, that devil, they seen them healed, right? Now, when the apostles which were at Jerusalem heard that Samaria had received the Besorah, Yahusha's Torah, the word of Yahuah, Yahusha HaMashiach, the witness of his Besorah, his Yeshua, they sent unto them Peter and John, who when they were come down prayed for them that they might receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, right? For as yet he was not fallen upon them. And they only were baptized in the name of Yahusha Mashiach. It's just like those people, Apostle Paul, that I think yesterday I said 12 disciples, but it was only 11, I believe. And Paul witnessed them, watching them, came across them. They was preaching Yuchanan's Basora, Yuchanan the Immerser, unto repentance, right? Paul watched them and listened to them. He said, listen. Have you received the Ruach Ha'Qodesh since you believed? Right? He said, no, we haven't so much heard as Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Scripture says Paul baptized them in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach and then laid hands on them. They may receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh because he understood how essential it was. He literally rebaptized them. That's if they were baptized. They may have just heard the message of baptism and was just declaring it without having actually experienced the physical baptism, right? Because, he was Yuchanan's disciple, but you would imagine that if he was Yuchanan's disciple or he had been learning under Yuchanan the Immerser, he would have been baptized, right? So that means that he was going to be preaching Yahusha HaMashiach. He's coming. And Paul had to straighten him out because, it's been some years now. It's been some years. And you still under Yahusha HaMashiach. You still under Yuchanan's baptism. Let me correct it. You need the Ruach Ha'Qodesh before you go any further. Because all you're going to do is cause shipwreck. For as of yet he was not fallen upon them. On none. Now that place was the headquarters of a demon devil who had free course. Now he's been swept clean. Had not the apostles came up and laid their hands on them that they might receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh? They would have went back to Simon. Because Simon hadn't received the change. He confessed Yahusha HaMashiach, right? But he hadn't received the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Simon hadn't changed. It's like the people. They received the house cleansing, the word. They were joyful and, right? But you got to have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh in order to change. You have to have the life of Yahuah and Yahusha in you to experience the change. All right, so, right, verse 17, then laid there they hands on them, and they received the Ruach HaQodesh. And when Simon saw through the laying on of hands the apostles' hands, the Ruach HaQodesh was given and offered, he offered him money. See what happens when you don't have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh? See what happens when you don't have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh? Right? These people, he believed on Yahusha HaMashiach. But you see what happens when you don't have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh? It's the same thing the disciples did when Yahusha had died. They ran and they wouldn't believe that he was resurrected. Even though he told them he was the resurrection and the life. Even though he demonstrated his power over death by raising Lazarus from the dead. They still didn't believe. witnessed. They witnessed Yahusha raising Lazarus, who'd been in the tomb for 4 days. They witnessed it, but they didn't believe it. That's what awakening is. That's why Yahuwah has me so strong in teaching you the need to have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, because if you don't, you're gonna be just like them. You like Peter was going back to fishing. Yahusha had asked him, "Do you love me?" He said, "Yeah, I love you. Feed my sheep." "Do you love me, Peter?" "Yes, I love you. Feed my sheep." "Do you love me, Peter?" "Yahusha, you know I love you." "Then Peter, feed my lambs." I didn't call you to fish. I call you to be a fisherman of fish. You'll go back to fishing. That's why the people in the awakening, they're going back to what they do, what they did. Oh yeah, they're going to go back to their Christmas. They're going to go back to their Easter. They're going to go back to their Valentine's Day. They're going to go back to all of these pagan holidays. They're going to go back because you know what? They're familiar with them. They was familiar with it. They're going to go back to Egyptology. They're going to go back to Islam, because Islam represents something that made sense to them. They're going to go back to it, right? Because they don't have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. They don't have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. They don't have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. And Simon saw that through the laying out of hands, the apostles' hands, the Ruach Ha'Qodesh was given, and he offered them money. That's what you get when you don't have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Right? And Peter said unto him, "Thy money perish with thee, because thou thoughtest that the gift of Eluah could be purchased with money." Right? "Thou hast no part nor lot in this matter, for thine heart is not right in the sight of Eluah. Repent therefore of thy wickedness, and pray Eluah, if perhaps the thought of thine heart may be forgiven thee. For I perceive that thou art in the gall of bitterness, in the bond of iniquity." But he confessed Yahusha Mashiach. But when Simon, verse 13, then Simon himself believed also. Right? Verse 12, but when they believed Philip's preaching the things concerning the kingdom of Eluah and the name of Yahusha Hamashiach, they were baptized, both men and women. And Simon himself believed also, and when he was baptized, continued with Philip and wondered in the gall of bitterness. Listen, so you mean you could be baptized a sinner and come up a wet sinner? That's why the baptism was not just a baptism of water. That's why the baptism of the Ruach Ha'Qodesh is essential, because the baptism that is of water, you could go down in the water a sinner and come up a wet sinner. Verse 13 again, Simon himself believed also. He believed the kingdom of Eluah in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach. He believed it. And he was baptized. He continued with Philip and wondered, beholding the signs. But this is what Peter said, right? When Simon saw, verse 18, let's go back to there. When Simon saw that through the laying on of the apostles' hand, the Ruach Ha'Qodesh was given, he offered him money. He's been baptized, y'all. Believed on the name of Yahusha. Who's baptized. Believed on the name of Yahusha. Peter said unto him, thy money perish with thee, because thou hast thought that the gift of Eluah may be purchased with money. He says, thou hast neither part nor lot in this matter, for thine heart is not right before Eluah. Wait a minute. He confessed Yahusha HaMashiach and was baptized, but his heart is not right towards Eluah. I thank you, Ruach Ha'Qodesh. I give you praise for confirming your word. For confirming your word. Listen, sometimes, you know, I get to delivering the Basura of truth that Yahuwah has given me by the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, and I'm like, Yahuwah, you know. I don't know at times where Yahuwah is going to take me in the scriptures, right? Don't know. But I go because I go where he follows. I follow where he leads, actually. I go where he leads. That's where I go. That's where I look to find whatever it is he going to say. I'm telling you, everything he says, I hold true to. I trust in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh to give me your word. Listen. He was baptized in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach. Simon thought he could get it by the laying on of hands, by offering money. Right? Then Peter says, thou hast neither part nor lot in this matter. Wait a minute, he was just baptized. He just believed, he believed on Yahusha HaMashiach. Thou hast no part nor lot in this matter, for thine heart is not right. Thy heart is not right in the sight of Eluah. Thy heart is not right in the sight of Eluah. So you mean to tell me that you could be baptized in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach and your heart not be right? Absolutely. Why? Because you know what? You need the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, which is Yahuwah and Yahuwah in you to make you alive, right? To quicken you from the dead. Baptism does not quicken you. The name of Yahusha does not quicken you. Receiving the witness that he has been crucified and being baptized does not quicken you. It's the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Because that seals you, that puts you in the beloved. Puts you in the beloved. It puts you in the beloved, right? He says, repent therefore of thy wickedness and pray Eluah, if perhaps, because what you did was blasphemous. Perhaps that through perhaps the thought of thine heart may be forgiven you, perhaps. Because I can't guarantee that. What? Perhaps, maybe. He said, because listen, I perceive, I have a word of knowledge. I perceive by the Ruach Ha'Qodesh that thou art in the gall of bitterness. You bitter. Because Yahuwah has totally came in and disrupted your program. Cast out your ruachs. Healed the people that you had dominion over, right? Because you, Hasatan, the father of lives, you who has been influenced by Hasatan, right? Children of the devil, right? Are in bitterness. Because now, you done lost your everything. And in bonds of iniquity. Right? Then answered Simon and said, Pray ye to Yahuah for me, that none of these things which I have spoken has come upon me, right? I guess he understood. He said, pray for me. He said, pray for me. That none of these things which I have spoken has come upon you. Yahuwah is calling me to tell you that you need the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Yahuwah, I pray for them who have been in this awakening, who have not received the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Yahuwah, I pray right now that they would receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh by faith. They which know that they need to have your Ruach Ha'Qodesh would receive it by faith. Receive ye the Ruach Ha'Qodesh in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach. Kurabasa shira ora mandira. Right? So let's go on. And they, when they had testified and preached the word of Yahuwah, returned to Jerusalem and preached the Besorah in many villages of Samaria. So they went back towards Jerusalem, preaching the Besorah to the Samaritans. Right? Now, the interesting thing is, I don't know whether or not Simeon recovered. Because Peter answered him, says, pray ye the, no, where is this? He said, repent therefore of this wickedness and pray Eluah, if perhaps the thought of thine heart may be forgiven you. Maybe. Perhaps. Maybe. Oh, man. When it comes to the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, man, you don't play. All right, let's go on. Let's go. We gonna hit this too, because I want again have you understand the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, right? Right. Now, verse 26. And the angel of Yahuwah spake unto Philip, saying, Arise, and go towards the south unto the way that goeth down to Jerusalem unto Gaza, which is desert. Right. And he arose, because see, he was led. Right? An angel spoke to him, and he was directed, right? Excuse me. And he arose and went. And behold, a man of Ethiopia, a eunuch, of great authority under Candace, queen of the Ethiopians, who had the charge of all her treasure, had come to Jerusalem for to worship. Came to Jerusalem for to worship, right? Was returning and sitting in his chair reading Elias, right? The prophet, Elias the prophet. And the Ruach Ha'Qodesh said to Philip, go near and join yourself to the chariot. The Ruach Ha'Qodesh spoke to Philip, go join yourself with the man at the chariot. This is what happens when you have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, right? The Ruach Ha'Qodesh will speak to you concerning people. He'll speak to you concerning things. The Ruach Ha'Qodesh may physically tell you to go somewhere, and you don't actually already know why, but you go there. When you get there, you meet somebody that the Ruach Ha'Qodesh had intended for you to meet because you needed to present to them the Besorah of truth, or you need to witness to them, or you need to lay hands on them, or you need to cast out a devil. You need to do what the Ruach Ha'Qodesh has given you the capacity to do, what Yahuah and Yahusha called you to do. And Philip ran thither, and he heard him read from Elias. And he said unto him, understandest what thou readest? And he said, how can I except someone should guide me? And he desired Philip that he would come and sit with him, right? Right? The place of the scriptures which he read was this: he was led as a sheep to the slaughter. Right? And like a lamb dumb before his shears, he opened not his mouth. Yahusha HaMashiach, right? In him, humiliation, his judgment was taken away. And who shall declare his generation? Or for his life is taken from the earth. And then the eunuch answered Philip and said, I pray thee, of whom speaketh the prophet this, of himself or of some other man? And Philip opened his mouth and began Then Philip opened his mouth and began at the same scripture and preached unto him Yahusha HaMashiach. Oh, man. Right? Right? And as they went on the way, they came unto a certain water, and the eunuch said, see, water, what doeth hinder me to be baptized? Right? And Philip said, if thou believest with thine heart, thou mayest. And he answered and said, I believe in Yahusha HaMashiach. He is Eluah, the son of Eluah. Right? And he commanded the chariot to stand still, and they went down both into the water, both Philip and the eunuch, and he baptized him. Right? Right? Now, the scriptures does not say that Philip baptizes eunuch with the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, but understand, Philip baptized him with the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Now, there was a reason why those Ruachs in Samaria were the way that they are, that they demanded the apostles' attention to go to there and to establish these people. It's the reason why, right? It says now, and when they were come up out of the water, the Ruach Ha'Qodesh of Yahuah caught away Philip. Caught away Philip. These signs shall follow them who believe. The Ruach Ha'Qodesh caught away Philip, that the eunuch saw him no more, and he went his way rejoicing, because he was baptized, and he received the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. He had to have received the Ruach. Let's hope he received the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. The expectation is that he received the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, right? So, but Philip was found in Azoth, right? So the Ruach Ha'Qodesh teleported. The Ruach Ha'Qodesh caught away Philip. He teleported. And Philip was then found in Azoth, Azotof, A-T-O. I wonder how far that was away. It don't matter. The Ruach Ha'Qodesh teleported. Teleported. Found in this place, and passing through, he preached in all the cities till he came to Caesarea. The Ruach Ha'Qodesh. You have to have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. The awakening needs the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. It's obvious that you have to have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh in order to be established. Peter and John came all the way from Jerusalem to Samaria. He went from Jerusalem to Samaria to ensure that the people received the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. They laid hands on them to ensure that they received the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. The awakening needs the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, that's all I have. My prayer is that you would receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. That you would not make light of it. Because the awakening is going to shake, rattle, and roll. It is. It's going to shake, rattle, and roll. It is. And only those who have received his Ruach HaQodesh is going to be sealed. Some of you ain't going to heed this clarion call. And you're going to go back. Because you don't have nothing to keep you. You don't have the Ruach HaQodesh. You're going to go back. You're going to go back to what you know, but it's going to be a death sentence. Some of you going to ignore me and continue to do what you do. It's going to be a death sentence. Because you still don't have the Ruach HaQodesh. You're going to philosophize. You're going to reason, rationalize, reasons why you're right. You're going to die. Yahuwah, I pray in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach that the words you've given me to give to them that they keep. Yahusha, I thank you. I thank you for being the propitiation. I thank you for praying the Father. I thank you for being obedient unto the death of the tree. I thank you for being a resurrected, redeeming prince of the tribe of Yahuda, surrendering your blood on the altar in the Shamayim, and making it possible for the Father to send the Ruach HaQodesh, which makes us sons and daughters. I give you praise. Yahuwah, Yahuwah, I give you praise. I covenant with you. I promise you I will preach this Basora until you stop. In the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, I give you praise and I thank you for your word. In the name of Yahusha HaMashiach. Listen, man of Yah, woman of Yah, that's all I have. That's all I have. My prayer is that you keep the Basora of truth, the word of Yahuwah. And with that I say, shalom, shalom, shalom.
Torah Garden, speaking the absolute truth. Torah, the nation.